The thing that's really interesting about this house is it's kind of bastard stepchild of the glass house. Everyone knows the glass house, but no one knows about the wolf house. And we certainly didn't either until this house became available for sale. But this house shares the same build date as the glass house. My name is Jeremy Parker.
My name is Jiminie Ha, and we are at the Wolf House in Newburgh, New York.
This home was built in 1949. The architect is Philip Johnson. Philip Johnson was preeminent American architect who is responsible partly for bringing in this international style to the Americas from Europe, and was working alongside architects like Mies van der Rohe in developing this kind of style. Built a handful of residential spaces in this area throughout the Northeast before he moved on to a more robust postmodern period. This style is not specifically Philip Johnson's. It's kind of like a style of a greater school and a theory of architecture. Definitely Philip Johnson was playful in certain areas, I think, and interjected his own vision and his interpretation of what a space could be.
We actually were very lucky to meet the family when they saw some press clippings online. We had been searching for the family for many months after we purchased the home. Unfortunately, the contact had been lost, and we were really grateful when the grandchild reached out to us because his grandfather was the one who grew up in the home. So he called us up, said, "It's my grandfather's 70th birthday. He grew up in the house. Could we bring him to the house as his surprise?" We said, absolutely. And on top of that, they said, like, we have a bunch of archive materials that we would love to share with you. So when they came to the house, Michael was his name, Michael Wolf, and it was his mother, Ruth Wolf, who had commissioned Philip Johnson. She was a New York City socialite. The husband, Benjamin Wolf, was a prominent department store owner. They were Jewish. She was really the one who spearheaded the commissioning of Philip Johnson. When they came to the house, they also gave us digitized, never seen footage of the home being built. So you get to actually see a cameo appearance by Philip Johnson himself. You see the house being constructed from the ground up.
We have photographs of the family, some news clippings of the department store, Stern's department store, which Benjamin Wolf, the father, was the owner of Stern's department store in downtown Newburgh when it was thriving. So yeah, just a really amazing backstory that was really missing. And when we bought the house, went on Facebook and we were approaching every Wolf that we could find, asking if they had any connection to this house, and we couldn't find anybody, and we eventually just gave up. And it was, only a couple years later that they reached out to us. So we are in communication with them. And
they've just reached out to us recently because they were going to be on the East Coast, and they wanted to share the home with some of their family members. So they reach out from time to time. We offer them the house because I think it's important to keep that conversation going. The way the home interior decor was designed, it was very different. It was like federal style furniture. Yeah. There was a Steinway piano on the corner. Like if you look at the original Zillow listing, it's like very confusing, right? The clashing of aesthetics. And so the way it was shown to us, there's a reason why a lot of people were questioning whether or not it really was a Philip Johnson. The house itself, there had been 3 previous owners prior to us. They had taken liberties to the exterior of the home, so the original design of the home had not been maintained up till the date that we had purchased the home. It really just compromised the original vision, the original vision of Philip Johnson's footprint. So what Jeremy and I had discussed was that we really wanted to take it back to the original designs. Jeremy, having his background in architecture, found the original floor plans at the Avery Architectural Library at Columbia. We got those scans over. All of the scans have exact specs on like what kind of wood, how many planks, what are the measurements throughout every single, for every single room. So we really didn't have to do much guesswork. It was already laid out for us. And most of our job was just to restore it back to its original design.
Part of the process in the restoration and the preservation came to light when we started to work in the kitchen space and embarked on that restoration. Circling back to what I was saying earlier about preservation, about how it was really important for me to make sure that everything in this house is represented as it was originally intended to, as it was presented in the drawings as close to possible. So we spent about 3 years working on that, removing all the exterior and putting all new cypress on that we had custom milled with tongue and groove, same exact number of panels that are represented there, opening up the venting system. When it came to the kitchen, people know this, but mid-century modern homes aren't always known for their kitchens. It was kind of more of a utilitarian space. So we thought maybe this is an opportunity for us to be a little bit creative and to interject something that's a little bit contemporary. We felt like us as designers and creators and artists, it was really important for us to keep this narrative open and move this into the next chapter of dialogue and the next chapter of conversation about what it means to design a space or to live in a space. And the kitchen was really exciting because we partnered with USM Modular, which is a Swiss company, on this system that was designed by Fritz Haller in 1961. It's a truly modular system that's designed to live and move with you as you move through life. And I just think that that's such a beautiful approach. For me working in architecture and Jiminie working in design, us coming together in this space, we certainly did not want to move in the direction of this very standardized American build system, which is utilizing very toxic materials that aren't even water soluble in these spaces that eventually, after 10 years' time, just get thrown away. True sustainability comes from working with structures that are existing, maybe modifying those structures that are existing, maybe learning and utilizing these materials that are already there. Do we really need to demo everything and build up? And how those challenges ultimately, again, inform the final design, right? I think that that is really kind of a beautiful process.
We rent out the Wolf House on different platforms. We are also trying to actively develop arts and cultural programming here, where we're trying to partner with different art institutions and galleries. If they're interested in doing like adjacent programming upstate, we participated in Upstate Art Weekend. We have exhibited shows here, hosted panel talks. So we're really open to anything and how we can engage with the community.
Jiminie and I met in the art space, and when we first bought this house, we bought it with the intention of activating it for arts-related events and programming. So we're excited about partnering with a lot of different people and working with a lot of different artists, designers, collaborators, and presenting new and interesting ways to experience home life. And also, if we can challenge and make people think a little bit differently about how they could approach a kitchen build or how they can approach a bathroom build, then I feel like we did our job. And we'd like to open up the idea of residencies, but we're also super fluid and open to any proposals. So we always tell people that are creators or artists or performers to approach us if you have ideas, because I think it's about just like opening up the space to those people and allowing those experiences to happen.
Here's what the house looked like when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My father was the practical man. My mother was the visionary. My family is a Jewish family. Started Stern's store in Newburgh, New York, a prominent store. This family was a prominent Jewish family in the community. So anyone who came here would know that Benjamin Victor Wolfe and Ruth Samuels were of Jewish heritage. And had they known that Philip Johnson, who they hired after the war, had beliefs before the war that were Nazi beliefs, they would have never hired him. But obviously they didn't know. And obviously he knew who they were. And the fact that he would want to commission something that he thought would be a work of art with people who were Jews says something about his own personal reformation. My parents loved this place. They cherished Philip Johnson's vision. He gave them what they wanted.